Okay, Chair, you're good to go. Sorry about that, guys.
Great, thank you. So the time is 5:31 on February 18th, 2021. I'd like to call this meeting of the 2020 Redistricting Commission to order. In the interest of public health and safety and pursuant to the Governor's Executive Order N-2920, members of the Redistricting Commission and staff are participating in this meeting by teleconference. In accordance with the Executive Order, and the public may view this meeting online, but not in City Council chambers. The city launched a virtual commenting portal, e-comment, that allows residents to comment and participate in the meeting from their own homes. You can find the link to e-comment at www.chulavistaca.gov/virtual-meetings. Your comments must be received before I call for the close of the commenting period in order to be considered. After the commenting period is closed, I will announce a brief pause to allow the commissioners time to read any comments that have been received. If you have difficulty or need assistance with e-comment during the meeting, please call 619-348-8056 and City Clerk staff will assist you. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Commissioner Andrade?
Present.
Commissioner Kressler? I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Dostal?
Here.
Commissioner Fortner?
Present.
Commissioner Juan?
Here.
Commissioner Moreno?
Present.
And Chair Hurtado?
Present. Okay, so it looks like we have a quorum. The first order of business is the consent calendar. I will now call for a 2-minute pause to allow the public to submit any final comments on items on the consent calendar. Commissioners, as a reminder, please refresh the view on your screen to ensure your new comments appear. And so will the secretary please display. The commenting period for this item is now closed. I did not see any comments. Tashar, were there any comments received?
No comments received.
Do any of the commissioners wish to pull an item for discussion or questions from the consent agenda? So I will ask for a motion to approve the consent calendar.
This is Commissioner Fortner. I move to approve the consent calendar agenda.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Commissioner Miranda will second that.
Thank you. I have a motion from Commissioner Fortner and a second from Commissioner Moreno. Secretary Turner, would you please conduct the roll call vote?
Yes, Commissioner Andrade. Commissioner Chrysler. Commissioner Chrysler, I think there might be a slight delay, so you might want to just click a little bit slower and that should work.
I'm clicking the temporary unmute, but I'll just unmute.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Dosta.
Aye.
Commissioner Fortner.
Aye.
Commissioner Juan.
Aye.
Commissioner Moreno.
Yes.
And Chair Hurtado.
Yes. The consent calendar passes through a unanimous vote. I will move to public comments. Public comments is a section on the agenda for members of the public to address the commission on items that are not listed on the agenda. I will now call for a 2-minute pause to allow the public to submit any final public comments. Commissioners, as a reminder, please refresh the view on your screen to ensure new comments appear. The commenting period for public comments is now closed. I did not see any comments coming in to Shar. Can you confirm that?
No comments were received.
Thank you. Moving on to item 3. Item 3 is report by the Bylaws Subcommittee of proposed revisions to the Redistricting Commission bylaws and consideration of a resolution adopting the revised bylaws. I'll ask the subcommittee members, Commissioner Dostal and Juan, to report on this item.
Wonderful. Thank you, Chair Hurtado. I had the unique pleasure to work with Commissioner Dostal on reviewing our bylaws and making some edits to the document itself to present to you. So I'll start with the edits that we've made and revisions we made given recommendations by staff from the former bylaws. Just as, and I don't know if you have it in front of you, just to let you know, the first major change that we made is basically in the terminology. Throughout the document, you'll see that The original document stated that we were talking about districting. We changed that to redistricting. Pretty basic change made. So throughout the document, we've changed the terminology to redistricting. Under Article 2, we did make an allowance to take into consideration the online nature of our meetings. So the original Article 2 talked about meetings being in person. We added a subheading here to recognize that under the COVID pandemic and in accordance with emergency orders, the commission meetings shall be held in a virtual environment. So we did want to make sure that was included under the new bylaws in that sense. Along with that, in the virtual environment, we also wanted to make sure that there was a comment made about how the public can comment on our work. So the addition of e-comments was stated under that second article. As you go through the documents further down, there was a recommendation from staff for us to basically, rather than use the word the 2020 Districting Commission, we changed some of the language to reflect that the bylaws will go and until the subsequent redistricting commissions take hold and choose whether or not they're going to continue with the particular bylaws. So under Article 4, Section 3, changing the wording to subsequent redistricting commissions rather than 2020 redistricting committee. Lastly, in terms of the staff recommendations, under Article 5, we made just an addition that these bylaws will remain effective as to subsequent redistricting commissions unless revised or replaced. Just so we know that whatever we come up with will obviously go to the next redistricting commission and they will make the changes that they feel are needed. So those are the revisions we made based on staff recommendations, and I'll hand it off to Commissioner Dostal.
Thank you, Commissioner Wan. So the first change we made throughout the document was to get rid of the precatory language. There was a lot of language of what we should do as a commission. And so if we should do it, then let's do it. So we changed the shoulds throughout the document to shall. The commission shall instead of the commission should. The next change we made was in Article 3 with regards to communications. We just clarified that with respect to communications that should be logged, that does not include things like talking to somebody about when the next meeting is. If it's not substantive, we just clarified those things you do not need to log. And then also in Article 3, Section 3, regarding public statements, we took the language, we replaced the language that was in here with language directly from the general rules for boards and commissions. We felt that language was clearer than what was in the prior bylaws. So just to clarify that, it's the same general gist, but we used the actual language from the general rules for boards and commissions. And then made was at the end of the document, the links to documents were updated so that then they now link to the current. And I believe those were all the changes we made. Is that right, Commissioner Wan?
I believe so.
Great. So if you have any questions about the specifics or the general, just let us know. We'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, before we go to public comment on this, this is an opportunity for the commissioners to ask just clarifying questions. Deliberation will happen after the public comments. So any clarifying questions at this time? Okay, so Tishar, I think we can go to public comment. The commenting period for this item is now closed. Tashar, would you please verify that no comments have been received?
No comments are received.
Thank you. Do any of the commissioners have comments or questions on this item, the proposed revised bylaws?
Yes, Commissioner Moreno is here. Just wanted, first and foremost, I wanted to thank Commissioners Dostos and Juan for their hard work in getting this, formulated and edited. I guess my question or clarification could either be for Carrie or Tashar regarding the public comment or commenting on an agenda item, being that we're in a virtual setting. Is it going to be like the city council where the comments are not specifically read, but they're sent aloud, but they're just sent to us for our own reading, or will they would they be read by the city clerk, or how would that work?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So the comments are received by e-comment, and they're typically not read. Staff just announces the number of comments that were received, the general nature of a comment, unless it's in support or opposition to a certain item. So they're typically not read, and that's standard throughout all of the boards and commissions. The beauty of the e-comments is as soon as they're received, as soon as someone submits an e-comment, is it's available to the commission and the public at the same time. So everybody can see everyone else's comment. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yes, it does. I just want thank you for the clarification. So and you said that's the standard for across all the boards and commissions, correct?
Yes.
Carrie, do those comments then become part of the minutes for the meeting?
Yes, they do. The e-comments that are received are summarized in the meeting minutes, and then the e-comment report showing the full comments are also downloaded and attached as part of the agenda packet. So those are maintained as well.
Any other comments or questions on the proposed bylaw revisions?
Yes, I still have a little bit more.
Okay, sorry.
No worries. It's okay. I know we had mentioned, I know in the bylaws there's been mentioned that, as commissioners, we need to, I guess, speak, we can speak as, I guess, private citizens and not so much as a commission. And I just wanted to just clarify that. I know there was a kind of like a article that was sent out by Tashar on my behalf. Thank you, Tashar. And just to inform, I know there's, when we speak with, members of the city council or their staff, that they, there's kind of a, I guess, I don't want to say like a loophole, but kind of a slippery slope there. When people can say, oh, I'm just a private citizen, I'm not on the clock, the age or something like that. So just, I guess, be mindful of who, when there's a private, speaking as a private citizen and who's not. And then my only last concern is that, regarding the bylaws, I know we have to log themes and stuff like that, and we're not supposed to meet with members of the city council. But in the event that, let's just say, one of us wants to go rogue and wants to meet with members of the city council or aides and kind of just wreak havoc. Unfortunately, hopefully none of us do, but there isn't kind of I guess, consequence or reprimand or anything like that for a commissioner who chooses to violate some sort of bylaw. And to me, I'm a rules person, so when someone violates something, they should be held accountable. So maybe putting in something like the commission has the ability to censure maybe a commissioner or something like that with maybe a unanimous or 2/3 vote or something. Should the bylaws be violated or anything like that? That's just a suggestion.
Can we get council's input on that suggestion?
Carrie, I'm wondering, in terms of other boards and commissions, is there a standard city policy, ethical, I mean, would that be considered an ethical violation? And so how would you handle this just across the board on boards and commissions?
There are provisions in the general rules for boards and commissions that state that if there's inability or conduct that interferes with the board or commission's ability to conduct its business, that a commissioner could potentially be removed from a commission, and that would happen at the city council level. So in theory, the commission could make a recommendation to the city council that it take action on a particular member. As far as censuring, I'm not familiar with anything that the city has in place. Jill, do you have more to add to that?
I agree with that. There isn't anything specific on censuring. These are bylaws that the commission is imposing on itself. So if it wanted to take an action like a censuring, that would be something we could look into. We could also look into, like Carrie said, a referral to the city council for violation of your bylaws, interference with your ability to conduct your work. And we can look into other potential options. We don't have anything with a lot of teeth, I guess is how I'll put it, that we can impose upon you as volunteer commissioners. But having said that, as I said, I'd like to reiterate that these are rules, laws that you're imposing on yourself, and that you as a commission have the ability to take that action of censorship if you desire to against your members. If you want to go further than that, I would want to do some more research on that and to see if there were other options. But as I sit here right now, I don't have any that I can recommend beyond that.
If it's the proper channel, I'd like to, I guess, make a motion to possibly include some sort of censorship or some sort of, I guess, reprimand or something should a bylaw be violated by a member of the commission and impacts and interferes with our duties as commissioners and creating a fair and equitable map.
Okay, so so that is a motion from Commissioner Moreno to add I'll call it a consequence portion to the bylaws should a commissioner violate any of the bylaws. And so I guess I'd ask for a second to that recommendation or to that motion before we go further. Okay, I do not see a second. Is there any other discussion on the recommended bylaws? Commissioner Juan?
Yeah, I actually, I'm really interested in the idea that Commissioner Moreno put forward. I'm just wondering about how we might word it. And I think that's where I'm kind of stuck about, because I think, and appreciate the articles you sent out, Commissioner Moreno. The last part of the first article does talk about what is the consequence about somebody who might violate it. And I think that's an important part of this whole process. I'm thinking it could also be either something that we impose on ourselves or citing the specific boards and what is it? The boards and commissions bylaw, or maybe that's the way to go about doing it. But yeah, I'm not seconding it. I just would like to think about like what the wording might be.
Yeah, that's wording to work on.
Yes.
Can I suggest that I come back to the commission on this item the next time? We do, as you may know, I believe we discussed this before, we do also have a code of ethics in the city that would apply to boards and commission members as well. So there may be something in there that we can rely on, and I can come up with some proposed language for you.
Okay, so if we want to allow that for additional consideration next at our next meeting, we'll have the city attorney's office come forward. I would assume then, and I'll ask for guidance from staff, that we will table approval of these till we decide whether that should also be part of the part of the bylaws. And so I'll ask for staff's guidance on that. Should we hold off, or do you suggest us adopting them and then amending them? What's the staff's recommendation?
Either option is available to you. You could adopt them tonight, and we can come back and add the additional language at the next meeting if you would like to do that. Or you can hold off on both. It's up to the commission.
Okay. Well, I will ask for a motion if anyone would like to move either adoption or delaying adoption for consideration of an addition. Any motions? Okay.
Shall I move to adopt, like, on our own work? I don't know
Yeah.
if that's appropriate, but I would move to adopt
Absolutely.
it tonight. Yes, I would move to adopt tonight, contingent upon that idea of bringing it back from in.
Great. So the motion is to adopt the bylaws as presented tonight with an option that they may be amended at a future time, which you did allow for that provision within your bylaws. Do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, was that Kressler?
Yeah, that was Commissioner Kressler. Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Kressler. Okay, so I have a motion from Commissioner Juan to approve tonight's recommended bylaws and a second from Commissioner Kressler. I will ask the secretary to do a roll call vote.
Can you clarify the vote, please? What exactly the vote is?
So a yes vote would be to approve the bylaws as presented tonight. And the city attorney's office will bring back for future consideration some language that might be considered that could be amended into the bylaws that are approved tonight. Okay, I'll ask Tishara to proceed with the roll call.
Looks like we have one, Commissioner Kressler, I think he had a question. You had your hand up?
No, it's a technical issue. I'm good.
Okay, great. Okay, this is item 3, resolution of the 2020 Redistricting Commission of the City of Chula Vista adopting amended bylaws. And I'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Andrade,
Yes.
Commissioner Kressler,
Aye.
Commissioner Dostal,
Aye.
Commissioner Fortner,
Aye.
Commissioner Juan,
Aye.
Commissioner Moreno,
No.
and Chair Hurtado.
Yes. Motion passes. And so we have adopted the bylaws. So thank you for that. And thank you, Commissioner Dostal and Juan. Really excellent work. Appreciate the hard work and the time that took. Moving on to item number 4, a report from staff regarding submittal and posting of Commissioner Communications disclosure log as specified in the 2020 Redistricting Commission bylaws. And does the staff have a presentation?
Yes, just a short update for the commission. So as you see in your bylaws, the Article 3, Section 2 requires that the commissioners complete a log of all communications regarding substantive redistricting matters. So we have created a fillable PDF log for you to hopefully make that process easier. It includes the requirements from the bylaws, so the name or organization of the contact, the date of the contact, and then a general description, and Tishara showing it there on the screen for you. So it's a quick and easy form. Our plan is to send out a reminder to the commissioners each month to complete the form for the previous month. And then you can email it straight back to Tishara and she'll post them all online. We will add a link to the commissioner communications logs on the commission website, the chulavistaca.gov/redistricting under quick links, which is where all of the meeting agenda and minutes and documents are. So we'll add that there, and once we receive them back from the commissioners, we'll upload them to that so that they're available for anybody's review. And you can also see the 2015 redistricting, or the 2015 Districting Commission filled out similar logs, and those are all still available online. So we're happy to answer any questions if you have any, or take any feedback that you might have.
So, Carrie, just for clarification, since there's a box for no substantive communications for this time period, I'm assuming you would like us to complete one every month, even if we have not had any communications?
Yeah, that's not a requirement of the bylaws, but we thought since we're sending it out to you monthly, that would just assure everyone whether or not there were communications. So ensure that we didn't misplace a log or not post a log or whatever it was, but we'll just post one for every commissioner each month. If you don't have any substantive communications, you're not required to submit one back, but we'd recommend that you do that just for transparency's sake.
Any clarifying questions before we go to public comment on this? I don't see any. So I will call for the 2-minute pause to allow for the public to submit any final comments on this item before commission deliberation. And just as a reminder, please refresh the view on your screen to ensure new comments appear. Okay, the commenting period for this item is now closed. Tashar, would you please confirm that no comments have been received?
No comments were received.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any other questions or comments about the log, the communications log? Okay, I don't believe this actually requires action, so we've received the report, and I thank staff for that report, and we will start using the log. Moving on to item number 5, a report from staff and potential action regarding redistricting timeline and next steps in the redistricting process. And I'm assuming staff has a presentation on this?
Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Jill will be presenting.
Wasn't sure if Carrie was going to start off or not, but thank you. As you may have heard in the news, there's a lot of changes and kind of upheaval going on with the census data and its release. The last time we spoke with you, the date that we have been working off of based on the most recent information was that the data would be released by July 31st. We found out just a couple of days ago that that has been moved once again. So the latest information we have is that the federal census data will be released by September 30th. And once that happens, the state of California, for our purposes, has to do their magic with it. which primarily means they look at our inmate population, and to the extent that they have information on the last known addresses of those people, they need to essentially allocate that population accordingly so that they're accounted for in the census appropriately. And they have said that they need 30 days to do that work. So for our purposes, it looks like we would be getting the information October 30th or so. So overlay that against the state deadline for cities and counties for having their approval of their redistricting work, the final map done in order to have it apply to the June election is December 15th. So that's about 6 weeks between those two dates. I say that, and then there's a lot of moving parts here. I was just talking to Carrie about this before this meeting. I was hoping to have a great PowerPoint presentation to present to you all with all this information. But as I do my reading and research and gaining obtaining more information from different sources, there's just a lot of moving parts. And with this information released so recently, I'm still kind of figuring out how these changes and the state law and our charter and its requirements all interplay together. So I'm working on that, and we are planning to go to council to update them as well as get some direction from them on how they want to proceed. There are some potential options that I'm working on. And the other, one of the other moving pieces is that the state, or the people that do this work, that's their livelihood and they live and breathe it, they anticipate that there may be some emergency legislation orders coming down from the state that might bump that December 15th date out. They might bump the June election date out. So those things may come into play as well, which would shift things once again. So, and we've been in consultation or been in discussions with our consultants, and we could probably get this work done in that 6-week time frame. I don't think anyone thinks it's ideal because we want to do the public outreach that is necessary. We want to do as much of that as possible. We want to get the word out. We want to have their participation in it, and to do it in such a condensed time frame is not ideal. But we have to work with what we have to work with. So we are working on figuring out the best way to do that, and working with our consultants on how to do that, what their time frame is, what we can do. There may be some things we can do in advance. You know, for example, once that federal census information is out, we could potentially have our first public meeting. It wouldn't be the final, but it would be fairly close, and it would be actual federal census data. So we could start with one of the first meetings. And we could even do some public outreach prior to that, just to get the word out, to let them know that census data is coming. We will be doing this redistricting effort. So there are some things that we can do ahead of time and that we're giving some thought to doing. So having said all that, our next step is we're planning to go to council on March 16th to get both of our consultant agreements approved and to give them an update on what's happening. And we're hoping that we'll have even more information in advance of that we can share with the council, and that will help us to get a more clear roadmap for our going forward. What it means for the commission is that it's going to shift, of course, the timing of your work as well. And there are some different ways to do that. We can keep our meetings on calendar and stay in communications with both the chair and the vice chair. And as we learn things, as this is continually evolving, we can be in touch and determine whether it's appropriate to have the next meeting each month. And if not, we'll let you know and everyone know that we're going to cancel that meeting and go on to the next month. If it is appropriate, if there is new information, we can provide that to you as updates. But it looks like the bulk of your work is going to come in that, October, November timeframe. So that's the long and short of it. Yes.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Ms. Malin. I'm also on the San Diego County Redistricting Commission, and what I got from that was that actually a lot of outreach can happen before we get the data and to figure out what communities of interest are. So maybe that's what you were saying and I missed it, but we can do public meetings pretty much all throughout until we get the data, right? Does that make sense to do that?
We can certainly do that. And we, as staff, have been talking about some options with that. One of the things that we have to keep in mind is our contract with our public outreach consultant. And the time, there's a certain amount of time and work that they've agreed to do for what we're agreeing to pay them. And so the longer we string that out, the less they're going to be available during that kind of critical time period. But we are, and Ann can speak to this maybe more, but we are thinking about things that we can do as staff and or how we can engage the consultant even before those final numbers come out.
Thank you.
Yes, I was going to ask about that too. Would this delayed time frame interfere with, our budget that's allocated for consultants? I mean, because there's, our budget is for, specified, amount of time. So if they have to go longer or shorter, does that interfere with the budget that's allocated to us for consultants?
Those are good questions, and those are all questions that we've been grappling with in-house as well. And what we would like to do is to keep our consultants under the contracts that were already, essentially, under the proposal that they gave us and the terms that we've tentatively agreed to and that we expect will be approved by council on the 16th. So we're figuring out the best way to write that up and to shift that since everything is shifting at this point, and to make the best use of their time in the interim to the extent that we can, without impacting the budget too much. And if necessary, I think Carrie and Ann maybe can speak more to this than I can, but if necessary, we can seek a budgetary adjustment from the council. But at this time, we're not, I don't think, in a position to do that. As things move along and we have a better idea of what's happening, that may change. But we're trying to keep things as they are for now.
Okay, any other just clarifying questions at this time? We'll go to public comment and then we'll have additional discussion of the commission. So any additional just clarifying questions at this time?
Yes, and have we communicated this adjustment or this time frame with our consultants? Are they okay with when guests being in a standby approach or kind of situation like that? Have we communicated this with them?
We have definitely been in communication with them. RDC is well aware of this, probably before we were. And yes, we have talked to them about it. They have some ideas on how we can get it done within the shortened time frame, and they're also staying in tune with potential, like I said, potential state changes that may push things out so that we have more time to do what we need to do. And Ann, I know, has been in touch with our communications consultant as well, and we're working on maybe just pushing their work time frame, just shifting it later so that we can stay within our budget.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so at this time, I'll call for the 2-minute pause to allow the public to submit any final comments on the item before the commission deliberates. Commissioners, as a reminder, please refresh the view on your screen to ensure new comments appear. The commenting period for this item is now closed. I would ask Tashara to verify that no comments have been received at this time. Tashar?
Sorry, I had a bunch of screens going there. Hold on. There have been no comments received. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I open it up for Commissioner additional comments and questions, I have a couple of comments. One, I'm glad that we're going to move forward with the contracts with National Demographic Center and I forget the name of the outreach group. You know, I think it's important to lock up those contracts, especially because so many other cities are going to be in the same boat we are. And I think we want, they're excellent contractors. And so I think it's important to lock those up as quickly as possible. I know staff will be looking out for this, but we certainly want to make sure we're in compliance with the charter, or if changes are going to have to be made as these things get pushed. I mean, right now, September 30th is the best case, but given how things have been going, that certainly could be pushed out even further. So I'll rely on staff to keep us informed and make sure that we're in compliance with the charter, or if changes need to be made, however council chooses to make those. And in terms of the commission, I think we still have a couple things left to do to be ready for this process, but I would anticipate that there may be some, I'll call it meeting hiatus, where we really don't have any business to deal with. And so I don't believe in meeting for the sake of just meeting. So unless we have something substantive, I certainly would be looking at canceling meetings till we do have something to really deal with on our agenda. So with that, Chair's prerogative, I will open it up for commissioners. Any additional questions, comments, concerns that you have on this item? I am not seeing any. I'm just seeing a lot of happy faces there. So on this item, let's see. Do we need a motion on this? Or are we just, we can just accept the report? Okay, so I am going to, Jill, you're mute. You're muted.
I'll figure that out by 2023, I'm sure. Just on your question on the charter, there is just kind of, like I said, I'm looking into the details and how these are all going to interplay together. But just for your, I guess, edification for tonight, the charter actually provides a longer time frame than the state law provides, because under state law, there's that December 15th deadline that we talked about. Under our charter, it's written such that we have a year from the time that we get the data. So it's tied to actual receipt of the data. So that actually gives us more flexibility, but that state law was adopted after our charter. So we're looking at, you know, we want to comply with both, obviously. So we are looking at that, but I just wanted to touch on that so that, you know, it's not going to be any of a shorter time frame under our charter. If anything, it'll be longer. And there is no actual motion or action required for tonight. We did talk about coming back with a potential amendment to the bylaws. So if you did want to keep that on for your next month's meeting, and we could update you at that time with any new information, would be my only thought.
Right. I would think for the next one, if we have a update, a revision to the bylaws, also we could get a status. Hopefully we will hear that those contracts have been approved. So that would be a nice positive to hear for the commission. And unless something else comes up regarding census data between now and then, that seems like those would be the items.
I had one other thing for the commission. I assume then for the 16th, the ad hoc committees, the subcommittees that assisted, so that we'll coordinate with those folks to assist us when we take the agreements to council. Because I believe it was Commissioner Moreno was for the outreach contract, and I forget who was doing the other.
Commissioner Kressler on the demographics.
So we'll coordinate with the committees to see who's available to participate on that meeting.
Great. Okay, moving on to other business, staff comments. Any additional staff comments?
I have no additional comments unless Ann or Jill have anything.
Commissioner Dostal?
Oh, sorry, did you ask for staff comments or commissioner comments?
Staff comments.
Sorry.
Okay, I think we're good. Or Ann, did you have something else?
No, I'm just waving my hands that I was good.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, now chair's comments. I just want to thank everyone again, and really the Bylaws Committee, just really excellent work, appreciate it, and appreciate everyone's patience as we go through this. It'll be fun. And who knows, maybe by the time we have the data, we might meet in person. What a shocker that will be, huh? So commissioner comments, Commissioner Dostal.
So I just wanted to comment that the chair of the San Diego Redistricting Commission just wanted me to extend an invitation to all of you about, any kind of coordination you want to do, or that, the San Diego Commission is, or the County Commission rather, is getting some training at different meetings. So I just wanted to extend that offer or invitation at different commission meetings. We meet twice a month, and we're having different organizations come in and give us their thoughts about redistricting. So I just wanted to put that out there. If anybody has any questions or wants to add it to an agenda, I don't have anything prepared or anything. Just wanted to extend that invitation from the redistricting.
Okay, thank you. Other comments from the commissioners? Commissioner Moreno?
Yes. How's the new website going for the boards and commissions and board profiles and all that?
I don't know if Carrie wants to offer.
We're continuing to put those together. I failed to mention that if you did want to submit a bio or a photograph, Christina, what's the deadline for that? Is it the end of this month? Are you muted? I think you're double muted.
Yep, double muted. It is the end of the month.
End of the month. So if you'd like to submit a photograph or a bio, please do that by the end of the month to Shar, and we'll get those posted on the new website for you.
Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Juan?
Just for my own clarification, and I hate to bring this up at the last minute, but did we approve minutes from January? Do we need to do that today?
That was part of the consent agenda.
Also, it's included in the consent. Okay.
Yes, there were two items in the consent.
Perfect. Okay. I just didn't know if that was separate enough. Thank you.
Yes. Commissioner Fortner?
Yeah, so I just wanted to give the commission as a whole an FYI. I'm a member of the South Bay Community Forum, and I received a request to give some basic information, nothing of substance, about the commission, kind of talking about the purpose, why it's important, the eligibility and kind of application process that we had to go through, and ways that they can get involved. Information, all of which I pulled from our public website. So there was no other additional information, but I just wanted to make the commission aware. I did also give a disclaimer at the beginning stating that I was speaking on behalf of myself and not the commission as a whole. So just wanted to let everyone know.
Great. So can she put that on her log then, Carrie, when you send it out?
I will, definitely will.
Yes, you certainly can.
Commissioner Juan?
Which I'm glad you brought that up, Commissioner Porter, because I actually did a very similar thing recently, and I did put it on a log in terms of providing information to the community on our meetings to attend, nothing substantive, and everything that came in that meeting came from our website, and I just want to be absolutely clear with everybody. And so similarly, a public event, and I have it on my log. So.
Right. Okay, any other comments? Not seen any. I'm going to adjourn this meeting of the Redistricting Commission. Thank you all very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, all.